So lots of things are happening in Europe at the moment. We see a lot of collaboration alliances that have been put in place over the last 18 months. First, alliances within our own company, our own group, on different topics such as data. We have the Data Alliance coming up in Germany, where basically the whole Bertelsmann companies are sharing information about their users in a central DMP. So that's one of the first thing, and I think this will happen in other countries in Europe. Regarding alliances, we want to intensify the collaboration with other broadcasters. So this is what we do basically at RTL AdConnect. We are representing, of course, RTL Group companies, but also third-party companies such as ITV or VRAI or Antena 3 in Spain. So this collaboration at international level is intensifying. And from a digital perspective, we have issued a few weeks ago a PR on a new venture called the TechAlliance between Smartclip, our own tech company inside the RTL Group, with Amobee, in order to build in the future a European buying tool in order to be able to access in a simplified way our global inventory in Europe, from linear TV when it comes digital to digital inventory to addressable TV as well.
So the data sharing in Germany that you just mentioned there, when you say user data, is that like login user data for VOD assets and online digital media?
Yes.
So they're sharing the viewing data and the profiling as well, the identity data, I guess?
Yes.
And that's with ProSieben and other broadcasters? Are they all coming together on something like that?
So at the moment we do that from internally.
Yeah.
That's what we call the Data Alliance within Bertelsmann. But in each country there are some additional initiatives combining different sets of data that are coming together. In Germany we call it the Net ID. So you have telecom operators, broadcasters, magazine owners, print owners, for subscriptions, etc., that are sharing a chunk of their first-party data together in order to make it easier. Also coming for a single sign-on across different platforms. When you're signing on RTL Plus platform, you don't have to do another sign-on, to go on another site, for example.
Yeah, it's interesting that they're doing that, because we've been begging the broadcast industry to share data at this level, and it's finally happening. And it's happening on the backdrop of a fantastic 18 months, if you like, for commercial broadcasting and advertising sales. If you can give a little update on how well your business has performed in that period of time, and where the trends are moving forward in terms of ad spend on TV and your digital assets.
Yeah. So, well, the last 18 months have been terrific in terms of, well, not in terms of health, obviously, but in terms of consumption of TV, whether it's linear or non-linear. I think it has been beneficial in 2020 versus 2019. The linear TV consumption has risen because people were, adamant in getting information on what was happening across the world with the pandemic, but also being entertained at the same time. Of course, what we see now, after post-pandemic, the reach, the viewership is going down, but we're still at a higher level than 2019, which is really good and a good trend. It means that people, tend to come back to linear TV. But on top of linear TV, we saw also a dramatic increase of our consumption of our online video platforms or video on demand platforms such as Sisplay in France, TV Now we're bringing it to RTL Plus in Germany, ITV Hub, across the board. So this has been beneficial for sure for the streamers as well, like Netflix, Amazon, but also for the local video on demand platforms that we provide. And this has transferred into a business opportunities. We're mostly back to the levels of 2019 in terms of net revenues, even and in some countries even higher. So this is a pretty good trend for the broadcasting industry at the moment.
Are you predicting that trend to continue then for next year? You're saying that linear is going back to maybe normal levels, if you like, as we're outside more, we should be. What are you predicting for 2022?
Well, I think there will be a stabilization, but we definitely see the growth of digital will be double digit. That's really clear in terms of consumption, but also in terms of revenue. Our group a few days ago has announced a huge investment for specific content for digital platforms. We're talking about 600 million per annum, which is huge. So maybe less than what Netflix or Amazon are putting globally on the market, but for a European company, I think it's pretty good levels. And we will continue to deliver originals, both in linear, but also for our digital platforms in the future. And I think that's really the good trend, and that's where this business is going.
Let's quickly talk about this sort of European tech stack that you're building. Is it? Could you phrase it like a sort of a Planet V, but for global distribution?
So what is key is we need to be in control of the funnel. Be in control between what is going on between the consumers who are watching our content and the advertisers. We have seen over the years a lot of questioning, a lot of untransparency between the different, tech companies taking a share, the tech fee drains, that kind of things. So we need to be in control of what's going on in our industry. So we now, for instance, within our group, we have a company called Smartclip. They deliver ad server, SSP. We have capacities to do dynamic ad insertion through Yospace. And the missing link was, okay, we need a tool to make it viable. Not only through an external DSP, but from a DSP that we can control. And that's why we did this TechAlliance, with Amobee. And we really believe that now we have a full tech stack to implement across Europe. It will take time. And the good thing about it is it will not be only available for RTL Group companies, but we're very willing to share this tech with other broadcasters who wish to embark into this vision of more collaboration, more control of what's going on within the broadcasting industry.
Is the control more about the tech tax, if you like, than actually like control of who is buying your inventory and all the rest of it? Because the argument for the other side of being a bit more open with your tech stack and using the tools that are out there is that you can actually bring more buyers together. Like, how do you juggle that? Because there are especially US networks have been doing this. They've been saying actually they work in a little bit more of an open environment, and it attracts more buyers. The tax is offset by the amount of demand that these platforms bring. How do you juggle that, and what's your position on it?
I think you don't have to interpret control in a negative way. We just want to make sure what's going on in between, the consumers and the advertisers. We want to have transparency. We want to see how it works. So it's less about controlling with a really, really high walls of a walled garden. That's not what we want. We want, of course, to control what is the tech fees. What are we talking about? Is it 50% of every dollar that you invest that goes away through different tech fees, or is there a way maybe to reduce this amount by using our own tech? Those are things that we're discussing at the moment. And at the end of the day, what we don't want, when we say we want to be in control, we don't want our ecosystem to be controlled by others or to be controlled by Google or Facebook or global players. We want to be mastering where we are making business. So it's like building your own highway, and then everyone will have his race car on the highway. It's not about building a monopoly or a duopoly. It's about, setting up the framework in order to drive and to make a good business for everyone.
And would you like to see a bit of consistency with how all broadcasters sort of transact in this way and use similar tech?
I think that would be I would say the main goal and the best case scenario. I don't think this will happen. We will have to be open to other initiatives, of course. But as long as we can provide a simplified access, a transparent way of transacting with us, and try to maximize the impact of every dollar which is invested in transforming into efficiency, I think this is what we want to do in the future.
Well, that's a great place to end. It's been really insightful. Thank you, Stéphane, for your time.
Thank you.
It's been brilliant.
Thank you.